Alright guys, Dreadnox here with another video today, putting a face with the name, and I thought it'd be a great time to do the collection video that I've gotten some requests and messages about. Decided to break it into two parts. Today in the first part we'll take a look at the G.I. Joe and Star Wars figures in my collection, the stuff you can see behind me, and then in the second part we'll go over and take a look at the Geek Cave and look at the Marvel and DC stuff in my collection. Two things that I'm probably not going to break out in this video is the figures and stuff I've got in the bins in the closet, and then stuff I keep in the garage. We'll save that for another video on another day. But I hope you guys enjoy, so let's take a look. Alright, we're kicking it off here, taking a look at the first shelf of my G.I. Joe cabinet. You can see some Snake Eyes up in there. At the top, several different versions. And then you can see some package figures going on in the back there. Some of this stuff I've got boxed up, but you can just take a look. Most of these are Joe's, you know, and my collection really, or my collecting really started with Joe's back in the day. It was one of the first figures that I really fell in love with, and collected and played with, and so that's kind of what kicked me off. You can kind of see there's a good look at that whole shelf. And then we'll take a look at this next shelf. And here's some Cobra figures mixed in with a few more Joes. You can see we've got Pursuit of Cobra, 25th anniversary, just a little bit of everything. There's a cap sitting back there. And this is a custom his tank. I painted it up with a desert look and then used the stickers that came in with it. Just kind of like that. Added some guns there on the side, as you can see, that didn't originally come on it. Some missile launchers or whatever you want to call them. And custom painted this back here as well. Not the best work, but I like playing around with some custom vehicles and doing some paint apps and stuff on them. And you can see there one of the newer versions of the Dragonfly. And we'll try to get a look at this shelf as well. And there it is kind of overall. And here's the third shelf on this cabinet. You can see some more Joes and Cobras mixed in together, and some package figures there in the back. 50th anniversary figures back there that I haven't opened yet. And I've got some more Joes, in bins and stuff, but some custom paint on that Hazard Viper there. And some more vehicles in here just kind of mixed in. But that one, there's the Matt Tracker, from Mask. I'll take a look back here at this one as well. Kind of get an overall look. And on to this other shelf, you can see several packaged figures in the back. And a good look over here. You can see the Dreadnox, which I took my name from. Like I said before, G.I. Joe was just a huge part of my childhood. Where I lived, it was a small town. There wasn't a lot to choose from as far as retailers, no local comic book shop, anything like that going on. There's an overall picture back here. Oops, we got a ninja that's fallen. And he lost the sword. I had him kind of positioned up there like that. And we'll have to fix him later. And on to the next shelf. But as I was stating, G.I. Joe was a huge part of my childhood. Masters of the Universe. We really just, didn't have a lot of money in my family growing up. My mom was, a single mom for the most part. And money was tight. You could get a G.I. Joe back then for like $2.16, and it meant the world to me. Masters of the Universe, I liked them, but they were more expensive. Transformers were more expensive and very hard to come by. I did get a few GoBots back in the day, and I did get a few Transformers, but it was just rare. And there's a look at the shelf from back here, and get a closer look at that Zartan. That is a custom job by Dreadnox, and he just did some wonderful work on those paint apps. And as we get a last look at the Joes in my collection, This is the last shelf, and you can see that's an Avengers Quinjet that I just thought looked cooler as a Cobra jet. And we'll look at a few more items, but most of the stuff is from the movies, which I wasn't a huge fan of, but I went and saw them because, like I said, G.I. Joe was just a big deal to me. But anyway, moving on with my story, didn't get into Superpowers figures or Marvel Secret Wars figures because they just really weren't available to me when I was a kid. So my Joes were everything. Snake Eyes, dual rolled as Spider-Man or Black Symbiote Spider-Man a lot of times, but Duke was my Luke Skywalker a lot of times. They were just my multi-purpose figures, and the articulation on them still holds up today in comparison to a lot of other figures. Sadly though, I lost my collection after a move when I was a kid, and I no longer have any of those. So when 25th anniversary came out, I jumped all over it and started recollecting these. And here's some more custom work I did. This was from the Sigma 6 line, and I cut it out. It's a Wild Weasel sitting in there, and repainted it, make it look like a Cobra gunship. You can see I spent some time on it. Did a lot of dry brushing and painted a lot of detail in there. I like it. I don't think it was ever finished completely, but I liked it and it was cool. And I believe that's a Palisades Cobra Commander statue. Look at that. And here's a look at some more vehicles. And Tomahawk over there. He's in there manning the guns. So, yeah. We'll look at some more figures. And here's a look at, some Metal Gear figures. Kind of have them in with my Joes at the bottom. See those? I was a huge Metal Gear fan from the original NES game, so I typically collect these figures when they come out. And these are some of the older ones. And I don't have a huge Transformer collection, but I do love Transformers. Just usually don't have a great selection where I live. Our Toys R Us here, very rarely sees masterpieces, and those are, the ones that I primarily like. But I do pick up some when I can find them. And there's some Sigma 6 figures back there in the back. Don't have many of those left, but I did collect a few of them. And you can see here, this is my desk where I film a lot of my videos. And some shelves over here. Big Millennium Falcon. Probably seen this stuff from some of the pictures I post on Toy Art. And we'll get a closer look at these shelves. You can see here Star Wars figures. Usually you can see these in the background several times. And there's that Flame Trooper that I recently reviewed. I don't display a lot of my 3 3/4 inch figures anymore, but I do put a few out when they're newer. Typically the ones I display the most are the Black Series. And some TIE Fighters. Picked up. And a little dusty. And there's a closer look at the Falcon. And this stuff up top. Another TIE Fighter. And my Jax figures. Vader, of course. And there's a Luke in there. So, yeah. We'll take a look at some more. And here's a look at some Star Wars art hanging here in my bedroom. Hope we can get a look at that. Looks good. And then got some more art over here. then we'll take a look at these figures here. And here's a shot of some Star Wars collectibles. You can see that Darth Maul statue and some more in the back. Unleashed Luke. And those are those two movie realization figures that were just recently in my review. Some SH Figure Arts Vader, Black Series, Emperor in the back, and some Stormtroopers. All Black Series stuff there. Transformers Death Star. And you can see some of the new Force Awakens figures there. And more Black Series figures. As you can tell, I'm a huge fan. Bunch of clone troopers there. Still a few Unleashed figures. Most of these have honestly been boxed up, but I still have a few of my favorites. And more Black Series there. So yeah. And more Black Series figures. Yoda and Vader and R2. Tauntaun. Unleashed Leia. And my face behind Han and Luke. And Fett, one of my favorites. And if we can see back here, IG-88, that guy just won't stand. And Jabba. So yeah. And some more of my favorite 3 3/4 inch. There's my Han Bank. And some Quarry figures. Get that the focus in. The lighting is not the best in the world. And my McCoy Vader. Just a lot of Vader stuff. And voice changing helmet. And some art over my nightstand. And my leg lamp. And Vader Bank. And just a quick shot of my Terradrome. And those are Hero Class, Millennium Falcon, and X-Wing Fighter. A lot of dust up there, but you can see I haven't applied any of the stickers to this stuff. These are hopefully future projects. I want to do some customizing. I think that X-Wing would look awesome with a Black Series Luke. So yeah, alright guys, so that was my Star Wars and Joe stuff that I have collected. Most of it, back here in my bedroom. As you can see, not a lot of light back here, so I hope you were able to make out the details in that stuff. I tried to add a little light to make it better, but it's just limited back here, and it's a little dark in the bedroom back here. So hope you guys were able to get a look at it, and we'll have part 2 coming up shortly in the next day or so. And we'll take a look at the Geek Cave and get a better look at the Marvel Legends and DC figures I have displayed over there. So I hope you guys enjoyed it, and we'll see you soon.